Today's reading for Thursday, the first week in Lent, talks about heroes, either mythological, biblical, or literary heroes who feel so strongly in their own strength, and they feel invincible. And then they're defeated by their opponents and are down, but actually at the end manage to come back and be victorious. When I was thinking about heroes I wanted to discuss today, one of my favorite biblical heroes is Samson. And I just remember pictures of him, being so strong. And he was a Nazarite. He was born to parents who had a hard time having children. And the angel of the Lord came to the mother, to the wife, and said, "You will have a son and you will raise him as a Nazarite." And a Nazarite is a child or a person who cannot eat of the fruit of, or drink of the fruit of the grape, must not be around dead bodies, touch dead bodies, or cut their hair. And she promised to raise Samson with those restrictions. And he became a very, very strong, formidable young man. And at that time, the Philistines were occupying Israel. Um, but Samson was a judge, and he was very strong. And he even slayed a lion with his bare hands, and he slayed 1,000 Philistines with the jawbone of a donkey. So the Philistines were intimidated by Samson, and they wanted to get him. Well, Samson was tempted. He was tempted by a Philistine woman named Delilah, and he fell in love with Delilah. And the Philistines knew this, and they offered Delilah 1,100 pieces of silver, which were 3 years' wages, to find out what was the secret of his strength. And she asked him 3 times, and he lied to her and told her it was ropes, and then his hair was in a loom, and then they were reeds, tying with reeds that had not been dried. And every time he did that, she would say, "Samson, the Philistines are coming after you." And he would break all of those things. Well, you think he would catch on that she is trying to trick him, but she persisted in her request to find out the source of his strength. And he told her it was if his hair were cut, he would lose his strength. So in the middle of the night, she had someone cut his 7 braids off and said, "Samson, the Philistines are coming." And at that time, when he got up, he realized he didn't have any strength. And the Philistines shackled him and took him to a prison in Gaza and blinded him. And he stayed there for years, and his hair grew. And the Philistines one day were going to take him to the temple of Dagon, which was their god, and parade him around, this huge man who's now helpless. But his hair had grown at this time. And they took him to the temple and were making fun of him and mocking him. And he said, "Let me rest between 2 pillars in the center of the temple." And they said, "Okay." And he pushed the pillars aside. He prayed to God. God gave him his strength back. And the roof fell in and fell and killed him and thousands of Philistines. So that's redemption. I mean, Samson realized he could not do this on his own. He needed God. And that's what we need. We need God to be strong and to stay strong. And that's what the disciplines of Lent really help us. If we resist having that piece of chocolate or that glass of wine or whatever for a certain period of time, it builds character and strength. And the poem at the end of the lesson, I think, is wonderful. "I find temptation to be my teacher, that I am not yet as noble as I suppose, nor as strong. Yet you give me another chance to get it right today." Blessings.